Joining us now is retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. He's a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Admiral, thank you for being here. I keep wondering, how much do we know? I assume this is naval intelligence is providing a lot of this information. How do we know, what do we know about the people that our military is killing?
So the drug dealers that we're seeing there, they have good intelligence, not just Navy and military, but the intelligence community, CIA, NSA, will be collecting heavily. I have no doubt that the people on these boats are largely trafficking the narcotics that they're being accused of. Similarly, we have a pretty good idea of where they sit on the shore, you know, where their factories are, where they turn the paste into a powder for cocaine and things, and where they the CPOT, what we call the maritime points of departure, the aviation points of departure they use to move the drugs.
Okay. We're hearing some dissent in the ranks on this issue. We saw that the naval chief for the region left his post, and there were questions about that, and Democrats have said that there are sort of whistleblowers who say that they're concerned about the legality of this stuff. How seriously do you take that?
So this is a serious issue. Admiral Halsey, the Southern Command, the Joint Force Commander, resigned, retired, but I think resigned. I think over this issue. Look, this is a tough one. I did drug operations as a commanding officer of a ship. It's slow and deliberate when you're doing it as a law enforcement action. It is successful, but it doesn't kind of get it won't have the imposition of cost on the regime that the strikes do. But there's a legitimate legal discussion over the appropriate use of these strikes without knowing exactly who's on the boat.
As we talk about increasingly regime change in Venezuela, actions on the ground in Venezuela, targeting the Maduro regime there and doing all of that stuff, that's a big shift, right? And that's a big matzo ball to have hanging out there, the idea that we're going to be engaging on the ground in Venezuela. When we think about, I mean, I assume Venezuela doesn't have much of a military to speak of.
They do have some Air Force units, ironically, F-16s that we provided. They have ground forces. They are a military state. Mm-hmm. You know, they've had multiple, coups and defensive coups by the military. But, these ground strikes, I will say this is a lot more efficient way to cut off the drug trade than one ship at a time. That's the least efficient way. Mm-hmm. The most efficient way is to hit the drug production facilities. And I think you'll find strong support for that around the military, and I think in the national security decision-making process. And you're right, if the added benefit is that you destabilize Maduro and there's the regime change and the actual elected leader from last year's elections comes into power, I think that's a win-win for the United States.
The Maduro regime is appealing to Moscow, which has its own problems these days. Is there some chance that the Russians could provide some assets to the Venezuelans that could make life worse for Americans?
No.
No.
I just think they have too many of their own problems. And, we're the only country that fights long distance. We fight away games. Yeah. Very few other countries in the world can fight or support an away game the way the U.S. military can.
You say that you talk about your own participation in the past in interdiction efforts. U.S. involvement in Latin American U.S. military involvement in Latin America does not have a stellar history, right? We do not have, from the Bay of Pigs and a bunch of other instances, we do not have a great track record down there. Is this time different?
Well, look, you always have to head into regime change kind of issues with great trepidation. And in fact, Donald Trump has historically been a pretty strong critic of that. But this regime voided a legitimate election. As you know, the person who won the Nobel Peace Prize is, in fact, and who he is congratulated and supports. We support the opposition in this country. Secretary Rubio particularly has supported the opposition for over a decade. I believe at this time, this is appropriate, but you're absolutely right. U.S. forces occupying territory in Central and South America is not a stellar track record.
Okay. Admiral, we thank you very much for joining us on this Halloween.